Welcome to Have You Read It, the channel where we bring books to life, one summary at a time. Today, we're diving into Anansi's Gold, the man who looted the West, outfoxed Washington, and swindled the world, a captivating tale of John Aka Miza, one of the 20th century's most audacious conmen. This book isn't just about a single grifter. It's a story about how lies, especially big, profitable ones, can warp history and shape the world we live in. Our story begins in 1974 in Osu Castle, Accra, where Myza presents a compelling narrative to Ghana's head of state, Colonel Ignatius Kutu Akyeampong. He claims to hold the key to a secret fortune amassed by Ghana's first president, Kwame Nkrumah, hidden away in Swiss bank accounts. This Oman Ghana Trust Fund, Myza promises, will transform Ghana into a paradise. Akyeampong, desperate for funds, takes the bait, even releasing Myza from prison. But who is this enigmatic Dr. John Aka Myza? Born John Cholera Blay in a small Ghanaian village in 1941, he grows up amidst stories of his region's lost wealth, plundered by British colonizers. As a schoolboy, he's nicknamed Kerosene Boy. But he nurtures grand ambitions, honing his skills as a psychic healer and recognizing the power of telling people what they want to hear. His journey takes him to Philadelphia, where he observes wealth and power at the exclusive Union League Club, laying the groundwork for his future cons. To understand the scope of Myza's deception, we need to look at the man whose legacy he exploits, Kwame Nkrumah. Nkrumah's life is a story of both triumph and tragedy. He rises from humble beginnings to lead Ghana to independence, only to be overthrown in a coup and die in exile, his name tarnished by accusations of corruption. Ghana's independence in 1957 is initially a time of celebration, but it's quickly overshadowed by internal corruption and external pressures. Myza would later seize on this period, twisting the narrative to suit his own ends. The political and economic instability of post-independence Ghana created fertile ground for opportunists and conmen. Myza, imprisoned for petty fraud, learns from seasoned politicians at Nsawam prison, adopting their mannerisms and refining his con artistry. The coup against Nkrumah and the subsequent junta's efforts to discredit him provide the perfect backdrop for Myza's tale of hidden millions. Back in Philadelphia, Myza perfects the art of the disappearing act, leaving behind unpaid hotel bills and a string of bewildered victims. His cons escalate, culminating in an attempted $250,000 theft from Girard Bank. He flees to Accra, only to be arrested again. But prison can't hold Myza for long. He secures his release with the help of Reverend James Edward Woodruff, a radical priest committed to economic liberation for Black communities. Woodruff introduces Myza to Robert Ellis, a charismatic Philadelphian with the connections to amplify Myza's con. Together, they form the Bureau of African Affairs and Industrial Development, a seemingly legitimate business with a dark secret. Myza's scheme is not entirely new. The inheritance scam, the promise of instant riches from a long-lost fortune, has been around for centuries. From the death of Sir Francis Drake in 1596 to the Drake swindle of the early 20th century, con artists have preyed on people's dreams of unearned wealth. Myza, however, adds a new twist to this old con. He uses the historical context of Girard Bank, founded by a slave-owning privateer, to justify his attempted theft. He understands the bank's controversial legacy makes it a perfect target, fueling the narrative of reclaiming stolen wealth. With a growing network of supporters, Myza cements his position in Ghana, manipulating the media and convincing prominent figures like J.K. Sayao, a self-made millionaire, to invest in his scheme. However, he also makes enemies, including Ebenezer Moses Deborah, a diplomat dedicated to protecting Nkrumah's reputation. Myza's hubris grows. He surrounds himself with figures like Noe Dravici, a notorious Romanian businessman, demonstrating a growing alliance with unscrupulous individuals. His increasingly brazen behavior leads to further scrutiny and skepticism. As his web of lies grows more complex, Blaymiza cultivates the art of deception, carefully controlling information and manipulating those around him. Meanwhile, Robert Ellis faces legal trouble in Philadelphia, highlighting the growing instability of their enterprise. Blaymiza sets his sights on the ultimate prize, the presidency of Ghana. He launches a populist campaign, promising to eradicate corruption and poverty, all while continuing to peddle the myth of the Oman Ghana Trust Fund. His campaign, however, is derailed by his own past. Blaymiza's trial for bribery and forgery exposes the fragility of his carefully constructed persona. Despite his lawyer's attempts to stall the proceedings, the prosecution unveils damning evidence, including testimony from former victims and the surprising appearance of a University of Pennsylvania lawyer. Imprisoned once again, Blaymiza finds himself caught in the turmoil of Jerry Rawlings's rise to power. Rawlings's violent coup and the subsequent reign of terror create an opportunity for Blaymiza to forge a new, dangerous alliance. Freed from prison, Blaymiza relocates to London, a hub for financial activity and a new hunting ground for investors. He cultivates a relationship with Peter Rigby, a video studio owner who becomes his unwitting accomplice, smuggling cash and weapons into Ghana. As Rawlings tightens his grip on Ghana, the country descends into chaos. Blaymiza, however, continues to thrive, leveraging his connections to the new regime. Meanwhile, the FBI launches an undercover investigation into the trust fund in Philadelphia, their suspicions aroused by reports of arms purchases. Blaymiza seeks to restore his image in Ghana by investing in the Sekondi 11Ys football team, introducing the catchy Akaraka cheer, and becoming a minor chief. These acts of philanthropy, however, fail to mask his true intentions. Despite the growing evidence against them, Blaymiza and Ellis maintain their grip on their investors, exploiting their unwavering faith in the promise of untold riches. But the cracks are beginning to show, as investors grow increasingly desperate and suspicious. Ellis is arrested and convicted in Philadelphia, revealing the true scale of the Oman Ghana Trust Fund scam. Blaymiza distances himself from Ellis, sacrificing his former partner to save himself. The investors, facing financial ruin, demand answers from Blaymiza. He feigns illness, manipulating their fears to maintain control. But his deception is wearing thin, as investigators close in and his own wife uncovers his lies. Blaymiza continues his elaborate charade, hosting a lavish Kundum festival in London to impress investors and chiefs. But his attempts to regain control are futile as his house of cards begins to crumble. Seeking to revive his flagging scheme, Blaymiza agrees to an interview with Ed Bradley for 60 minutes, hoping to use the platform to reassert his credibility. However, the interview backfires spectacularly, exposing his lies to a global audience. Recalled to Ghana and placed under house arrest, Blaymiza makes one final plea to Captain Tsikata, offering to share his ill-gotten gains if the trust fund is deemed a fraud. But his desperate attempt fails, and he dies under mysterious circumstances just as Kwame Nkrumah is finally given a state burial. The story of the Oman Ghana Trust Fund, however, doesn't end with Blaymiza's death. The myth of Nkrumah's gold persists, exploited by other con men seeking to profit from the enduring lie. Even some of Blaymiza's former investors cling to the hope of a future payout. The main takeaway from Anansi's gold is that lies, if big and profitable enough, can become history. Blaymiza's story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of greed, the fragility of truth, and the enduring power of a compelling narrative. Remember these heuristics. Beware of promises that are too good to be true. Question the motives of those who profit from a narrative. Don't let greed blind you to the truth. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you never miss our next book dive.